Hey guys, welcome to another video and thanks for clicking on this one. So in this video, I really just want to share my thoughts about everything that has been going on. I've tried to make videos in the past couple of days and I ended up just deleting them because I didn't feel like it was good or I couldn't get my words together and all that. But I think it is important that I share my thoughts about everything. So let's talk about the first one, the American Eagle airplane. You see that airplane? I've actually flown it before because I also worked for PSA Airlines. I was based in DC. And I've flown that same approach so many times, just like so many pilots that are based in that area have done that in the past. And to realize that that same approach, took the lives of so many people is really sad. And I'm not here to really talk into the details about how it happened, who was at the wrong place at the wrong time, things of that nature. I'm not here to say that. But what I really want to just discuss in this video is things like this often happen occasionally, and thank God it's not something that happens every time. The last time they've had a terrible accident in the US was I think 2009 or so. And the point here is, when these things happen, how do we handle it? Because to be honest, it will shake you to your core. It's heartbreaking, it's disappointing, and it's not something that we hope to hear anytime soon, because it's never good, let's put it that way. And that is why I try to come on here and not talk about those type of things on this channel. My goal is to inspire, motivate, share ways in which you can get into the industry and not put things that will discourage you. But the reality remains that things like this will happen, and how do we handle them? So my first recommendation is often goes back to your own motivation. You see, when you do not know exactly why you're going into an industry, you would find reasons to not do that thing or to not go into that industry. So same thing with aviation. If your goal is to become a pilot, then you need to have a very strong reason as to why you want to do it. And I hope it's something that is, deep rooted in your own heart, which means it's personal to you. It's something that you really want to do and you're willing to, take the risk. Now, aviation has its own risk, just like how living in your house has its own risk. Driving on the road has its own risk. Walking by the side of the road has its own risk, right? There's always risk present. But as aviators, one of the things that you are looking for is to identify those risks and minimize them to the best of your abilities, which, if that means delaying the flight, for example, maybe due to bad weather, or knowing your procedures so that you can handle things when they come up while you're flying. Or is it being knowledgeable about the airplane you fly, the airspace you're in? All of that helps to manage the risk that are present. Now, with this particular flight in which an helicopter collided with the airplane, this one was quite different. In a sense, I've personally flown this arrival so many times in the past. When I was at PSA, like I said, I flew the airplane myself, and at 300 feet, that is not the point you're generally looking for traffic. That is the truth about it. Now, your TCAS, which is installed on the airplane, generally will show you some traffic around you, but at that point also, it has its limitations. So the point here is, it's so unfortunate it happened, and it's so sad that lives were lost and people died and all. Now, how are you processing this as an aspiring pilot? I know a lot of times people get discouraged about things like this, but understand that, the safest means of transportation is still flying. And that means that as long as lessons are learned and the necessary recommendations are implemented, things will get better. Now, the other thing that I also want you to take away from all of this is that when it comes to flying, you have to understand that there's always that risk present. This type of things reminds me of one of the hazardous attitudes that we talk about in aviation, and that is invulnerability. And literally what it means is that you are vulnerable to anything in aviation. And the truth is, your goal is to be aware and know that it could happen to you anytime. So you are always on guard to look for ways to prevent it from that happening to you, if you get what I mean. And I don't want you to dwell on this negative news that has been going on. You have to understand that the industry has its own opportunities, its great, its benefits, and maybe financial benefits as well. All of that comes along with the risk that is inherent just by flying. But the truth is that majority of the time we don't have to worry about the risk because there's so many systems in place to prevent these things from happening. So I just want to encourage all of you that may have been discouraged about this accident that has happened in the past few days, and understand that, hey, it sometimes will happen. There would be rainy days, but hopefully we have more sunny days and clear skies most of it. And that is where the training, the systems, the professionalism that you have to exercise as a pilot comes into play.